In this video, I'm gonna show you how I did the styrofoam ball ornament. So firstly, I got the styrofoam. I sent off any imperfections, and I'm sorry guys, I somehow forget to show you I painted it twice with white paint. And then I have this custom printed rice paper of two beautiful doggies for a sweet lady I made here in Slovakia. So I'm tearing it up in few places. So technically it is done from photos, but it was printed on rice paper. And now I went with good amount of decoupage glue, and I've seen wrinkles, so I cut more and see it's how, and it doesn't matter, you know, it's okay. I just put it back on and pressed even more, and I made sure it is glued properly. Good amount of glue, but of course no excess because it will dry out white, not clear. And again, wrinkles, cutting more deeper into the rice paper, so don't be afraid. And making sure, see, there is an like overlap, so I did like took off a little bit of piece of it because the overlap would be darker and it would be visible that there was a tear up, you know. So this is why I'm doing it, and I'm lifting it off every time I see a small wrinkle forming. And since it is rice paper, you can do it more than with like a napkin. A napkin is of course more fragile. And now it is glued both sides, and now it is time to paint it. So firstly I started with like ivory paint because firstly I was like thinking I just do shading on both sides of the ball, but then I decided I need to make it match, you know, like I need to those two images to match. And since I am not a painter, and you know I am not a painter, I did my best to do it. And since the one side was like on grass with flowers and a meadow or something, so I decided to go with this image on both sides of my styrofoam ball. So I like plain play with it, and I painted flowers and such. Then I applied glitter decoupage glue on it, and I'm hope you kind of like the outcome, that I did my best, yeah. And after this was dry, I did seal it, of course. And again, what I used, it was my pouring glaze, and I applied, I think 4 or 5 layers of the glaze for a nice shiny look. Of course, you let it dry between each layer, and even here you should be careful not to apply much because it will not dry clear. So make sure it is really like good amount, but the right amount. And then I was thinking it misses something, so I did decide to add butterflies, and for this I'm using a stamperia mold and air drying clay, and I glued it on with express glue from Pentard. I must admit it slipped few times, the butterflies. So I had to hold them a little bit more until the glue was dry, and I didn't want it to be like flat. I really wanted to be like butterflies looking, so you know, I formed the clay and then I glued it on the ball. And technically, is it a Christmas ball? I don't know, but you can use it for Christmas or anytime. So I like it. Let me know what you think. Anyway, so I have to like hold it in place a few times because it did slip. Now it is all dry and it is time to paint them. So firstly I paint them all in brown, and I took off the excess of the paint with wet towel. And again, I'm not worried if I'm somehow, messed up the ball because it is sealed, so you can easily clean it up. And now I just went with the colors there are on the flowers I put there, and this is the way I made the butterflies, as well. So I played again a little bit with it. And after this was like done, of course I let it all dry, and next steps, sealing. And for this I'm using matte varnish. I sealed my butterflies with it, and again let it dry. If you want to like achieve a harder like look, so it will stay on, do this hard varnish, use the hard varnish. And for me the next step was wax paste, which I applied for a nice shiny look on my butterflies. And this is technically all I did here. And here they are, the bell. I will show you next time. Bye.